Hey guys, well, we're finally back after a couple weeks off with Main Contained Fishing Podcast from myself and Benya Outdoors, Mike. We've got a special guest tonight. We're fixing to bring him on here in a few minutes. We'll let him introduce himself and we'll get after it here. So let's get this thing off. All right, welcome. We're going to fix and bring Alex up on the show here, and this is Alex on the water.
Hey.
Welcome to the show, Alex.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Hey, man, great to have you back. Great to see your face again, man.
Yes,
It's been a couple of weeks since I laid eyes on you.
Yeah, it has.
We're just going to talk about just some of your stuff, what you've been up to, and kind of introduce yourself to everybody. That way, everybody can throw your social medias out there while you're speaking, and go from there. So we'll let you have it.
Okay, doke. Well, I'm Alex. I fish out in North Carolina. Part of the scene out here in kayak bass fishing. All my socials are up there. Alex on the water fishing. I've been in fishing in kayak probably, what's that? Yeah, I would say it's pandemic. I'm a pandemic plastic grabber. So since 2020, been fishing from the bank since I was 5. Bass fishing probably since I was 5. Multi-species fishing since I was 5. But I really had a really good bass experience. So I kind of just always went for bass and then kind of settled if I couldn't catch them with everything else. But from New Jersey. That's where I pretty much cut my teeth on fishing maybe 4 months of the year. And then recently in the last 10 years, we moved down to North Carolina for work. And I mean, I've just been just going at it. My dad got me into fishing. Coincidentally, he had to come down here for the 5 of 10 years I was here, and he couldn't stop fishing once he got down here also. So it was really cool just to have the person that brought me into the world to love to fish came down here, and literally it was just we picked up where we left off at. But yeah, that was the guy who got me into it, and I do a lot of a lot of tournaments. I try to do more nationals, but for the most part, I'm somewhere averaging about 20 tournaments a year. Yeah, mixing a couple of nationals that come near the area, and then traveling, just like you were saying, for the Brian Latimer tournament or for the KBF NC. So yeah,
good deal, man. So let's talk a little bit about the Brian Latimer tournament. It was we had a house full. We were house guests together. It was a great time. We had Myron and Wes and Jared,
Josh, you, myself, and I think it was 2 Joshes. Yeah, there was a Josh from up north, New York, and there was a Josh White.
Man. Yep. That man made a ride from New York to fish this thing.
Yes, he did. Brian never he said it, 'cause I think the guy who came in third. He was from Midwest area, but I was like, nah. Right. Josh had the longest travel. That man drove 17 hours to get there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was definitely.
Mike, you should get in it, Mike. You can make the ride. You can make the ride, man.
Where's the fish at?
So this year it was over at Sinclair down in Georgia, and then last year it was in South Carolina at Hartwell. If I had to guess, he's going to keep it in that circle area, so I'll probably see Clarksville or Russell, or he might throw it to Lanier if he really wants people to catch fish next year. And just that South Carolina Georgia area is pretty much where he's been throwing it. Oh, he could throw it to Florida. That's also somewhere he could throw it. Yeah.
Because it's probably 16, 18 hours from. I mean, the thing is though, that being said, fishing, driving distance, okay, so if I was driving to go to some concert, I'm gonna limit that distance.
Yep.
But I drove yesterday 2 hours to go fish in my own state. 2, 3, 4 hours is nothing. That's like a fishing 2-hour drive is not the same as a going to the market 2-hour drive. Like it's a different. Like I did a tournament trail in Massachusetts where I was driving 140 miles one way to get to the boat ramp at 5 a.m.
That's a whole different vibe. I agree. It's
Yeah.
a whole different energy and just like the anticipation, excitement, and the experience. Yeah, the car
I
ride.
hate driving, dude. I absolutely. If I ever won one of those Powerballs, I would pay someone to drive me to the grocery store. Like I don't care.
I respect that.
It's just, it's one of those, like you said, it's all about, like, I think with a tournament, the only thing that makes it long is the way down you're running through. If it's windy, what am I going to do? If it's raining, what am I going to do? Like you're running through these scenarios. On the way home, if it was a bad tournament, it makes it a really long drive because you're like, I should have fished that stupid rock. I knew I should have fished that rock. I knew I should have fished that lay down that I want by. Or I should have gone shallow. Like you just end up like beating yourself up all the way home. Things you didn't do.
Yeah. So y'all, you came down Thursday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You came down Thursday from North Carolina. Me and Jared didn't make it till Friday afternoon sometime. Did it rain Thursday on y'all, or y'all had a clear day Thursday, but it rained Friday and Saturday?
Surprisingly, Thursday was almost 80 degrees.
Yeah.
So Thursday was almost like, it was like 78, 79 by like the time I actually like was like on my way in the water, 80 once I was on the water, and slightly cloudy, warm day. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful day. And then, as you saw, Thursday, we started going to more inclement, colder weather. And then we get there Sunday, and it's just, it was windy, cold.
Yeah, I think tournament morning, which was Sunday.
Yep.
Golly, what it was in the mid 40s?
Yeah, it was mid 40s. It was rising fast, but it held mid 40s for a minute.
Yeah, and then the winds kicked up to about 25 knots.
Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah,
it was definitely rough.
So, tell us, you did a recap on your channel. I know you did a recap.
Yeah.
And if y'all want to see that good recap of him, how he pinpointed fish and everything pre-fishing, go over to his channel and you can look at the.
Yeah, it's definitely there.
Yeah.
The things that I wish I would have covered in the recap was more video from either the stream or just what I captured, just to have to do like a breakdown, because the docs all look the same, but there were certain ones that just were different, and that's where I knew I could catch them. But I didn't really want to waste too much time with the details, like going into the nerdy details, more so just getting the content out and having it there. So if anybody's ever going down to that area, they'll have a good like roadmap of where the fish should be around that time. So that was the big plan. But yeah, practice was awesome. I mean, that Thursday I went there, like I was really, really like trying to keep it to my chest, because Myron, everybody, because I mean, you heard everybody that came in there had boat problems off the rip. So Myron's batteries didn't charge, so they were on trolling motor. They couldn't. Oh no, they were on big motor. They couldn't use their trolling motor. But they had like a little bit of graphs. And then Josh, live well flooded, so his boat was sinking on that Thursday. So they never even got to practice on Thursday. They were just like they had more water on them than the fish did on Thursday. So that Thursday for me, I assumed that they were either pre-spawn or they were spawning, and I just started just running through like everything I had. Chatterbait went through there. I did some flipping, just a little bit, but mostly just that floating worm and just having like moving baits near that area. And I mean, within an hour and a half, I had 80 inches. So I was like, this area is fire. And I didn't even try. I never even like went to explore too much. I already had 80. I was like, okay, this is probably going to be in the bag. And as the days progressed, that Friday we had that rain. It got colder. I was like, okay, they might be all right. Saturday we had our seminar, and that's when we all went back out to practice again. And like I said, I even said it into the group. I was like, yo, my fish have shrunk. All my fish have shrunk. I had two bites in the same areas where I was finding them before. One of them was like a 13 and some change. The other one was a straight 14. I said, this is going to be really like scary, because I've made adjustments, but I've only made adjustments when I know where I'm going to, like, I'm just going to say I'm skipping this area and go somewhere else. I had no other areas, other places I practiced were just not good.
So, and I tell you how, I fished that lake in the bass boat world.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew where I was going to launch at
Mm-hmm.
because I knew some areas around the marina, Lake Sinclair Marina.
Yeah.
I knew some of the areas that I was close by, and I knew that held fish during, the early spawn, the mid spawn, and then even the post spawn. And so I was like, you know what? I'm not going to be running crazy. I'm not going to be running 4 hours around the corner trying to find another boat launch to launch at and things like that. So I just stuck it out right there at Lake Sinclair Marina area and actually found them on that riprap. And
I wish that's my dream, just sitting there and just crank it and chatterbait it all day. But
I was fishing. I was fishing in about probably 8 foot of water
mm-hmm.
on that riprap, and they wouldn't even bite a crankbait. And so I went to that finesse worm and just stuck a spinning reel in my hand all day long. So
yeah, that's literally what I found out pretty fast too. That morning's like they are not reacting to any of my moving baits anymore.
No.
Like I literally had to put them down, and I think I locked in the drop shot, and I said, I got one bite on you. I got one bite on it, and it was like a 14 and some change. I was like, well, this is going to be my weapon for the day. This is it. What they're going to bite. This is what I'm going to get them on. But I still kept those chatterbaits on lock just in case, because I mean, I don't want to get too far away from my comfort when I know it's like I can catch them, but don't lose focus on what should happen. And I think that's what really got the big girl for the actual tournaments, because it was a perfect spot. The wind was blowing up on that dock, but it just created that nice little smooth lane where like the cove was parallel to the wind, and it's just one calm, it was a nice little calm area. And that chatterbait, I was like, I'm just gonna throw it over here. Hasn't worked any other time. Just threw it, and sure enough, it just stopped moving, and then it just that's all you heard, just the line just trying to run out of my hand. And
so with that being said, I've got a picture of his big fish.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I kind of want to walk through this with you, Alex, and kind of tell you and kind of tell us, what she was staged up on, and
I got you.
And things like that. So let's add this picture. This is a 24 and a half, right?
24 and a half.
Average weight. What was her average weight? Just to kind of give the
9
pounds.
Yeah.
9 pounds. So a pre-spawn fish.
Super pre-spawn.
Okay.
Super pre-spawn.
So just kind of tell us the setup you had when you caught this fish.
Yep. So this was on the Chatterbait Evo fire crawl with the fire crawl chatter spike. There's a whole story behind that because I was there with Steven trying to figure out where they put the half-ounce chatterbaits at and why they didn't have any fire crawl razor shads. I was talking to what's the other guy's name? Cam. I was like, Cam, why don't y'all got razor shads? I got all the chatter spike. He's like, Brian was like, he wanted to get the new stuff in. I was like, but the razor shad is like the like
that's the bomb.
That's what goes with the chatterbait. He was like, yeah, I know, but the chatter spike is the new stuff, and that's what we want to use. I was like, So I got the half-ounce chatterbait Evo fire crawl with the fire crawl chatter spike. That was on 17-pound, or no, that was on 15-pound red label cigar, and I was throwing that on SLX DC 71. It was the Japanese version, left hand with a Daiwa Airdex braiding. I think that's the name of it. It's one of the ones you get out of the Academy. That's a 7.3, and I think it says it's a medium heavy, but it really is a medium moderate fast tip because the way it works really well with chatterbaits. That's a sleeper rod that a lot of people. I think Tactical Bassin talked about it, but they talked about the spinning version. That casting version is a sleeper because if you're throwing crankbaits, chatterbaits, it loads up. You don't have to work. It literally loads up for you and holds them really, really well. So yeah, that was the setup that she bid on, but her space, like where she was, like I was explaining, it was like it's a V-shaped cove, and it was parallel both sides. We'll say one side of the V was a little bit longer than the other, and that longer side was parallel with the wind, and it was getting like bum rushed with wind coming in, and so waves were going there. But right off of it, because the way that the cove is set up, that little short side was all protected with a straight line going straight over. So right where the wind was beating up that cove, and right where it was calm, is where I threw the chatterbait, and literally as pretty much as soon as I wound through, and to explain what was on the bank, 5 feet of water. I'm in about 7, thrown into that 5-foot range, and I'm throwing under a little overhang, just a little overgrown bush that's over the water, and I'm probably throwing it maybe 2 feet off the bank, and then coming at a 45 back into the turbulent water. So.
Yep.
So when I was explaining it before, I think she was either taking a break from the turbulent water, or she was waiting for fish, because no other cove had, like, I found a couple of coves that were just like it. There were no fish setting up like that anywhere else. So I'm thinking that she was on Main Lake on a point doing her pre-spawn stuff, and said, yeah, this wind ain't gonna work. Let me get in here, and I'll wait for some more food. And I mean, where she was looking, if it felt like she was already looking that way, like towards like where the calm water was coming into the turbulent water, like if things were getting washed around. And yeah, that she locked it up. I probably fought her for maybe like 20 seconds to about 45, but once I got her in the boat, it was I was screaming. I woke up. I even said it during the meet. I woke up two of the residents, and they were is everything all right? And I just literally lift up the fish to show them, looked at the fish, screamed at the fish, looked at them, showed the fish. I was flabbergasted, dude. It was bad. So then I weighed her and got that, and then I put her on the measuring board. And then I went right back to where I caught her. I was like, all right, go ahead. You can go back now. And she, as gentle giant as she could be, she cooperated. Like I took a picture with my hand on it, and I also took a picture without my hand, but I wanted to keep my hand on there. That picture to show like full girth, just like we were saying, Mike. Yes. Like that board it tells a story.
Board's wide.
Yeah, it tells a story for people who have the board. If you don't have the board, my hand will tell the story. Like, I'm a grown man. I don't got the baby hands. I got a medium-sized hand. And that made my hand look very small. So
even Brian said at the award ceremony that Alex's hand looked like a baby hand.
Yeah. So it was. I mean, she was definitely a specimen. Put her back, and I mean, she went back there, no problems. She was good to go. And then from there,
she may have been starting to make a bed. Like if she went right back to the same area. Because those bigger ones spawn earlier. Like there is the older the fish, they will. Some of those big old ones will get in there and spawn and get out before all the chaos happens.
And then on the vice versa, there's some that'll go in late because they don't want to hustle and bustle with all the other girls. Yep. So once
that Evo is a pretty dirty bait. I'm not gonna lie. I've caught some fish on it this year. It's different. It thumps. I don't know how to explain it. Like it's not a jackhammer. Like I know that this is supposed to be the cheaper jack. It's not.
Nope.
But it is significantly cheaper than that jackhammer, and it has a different vibration. Like the way even in your rod.
You can feel that frequency is completely different. Yep. And I think the best thing about it, price to performance, hands down.
Yeah.
But it acted. So the biggest issue with the original chatterbait to that is that activation time. When that lip catches that first turn, it's going. The original, you got to either give it a lift or you got to burn it real fast to get it like a buzz bait just to get it to activate. And God forbid you're doing a stop and go retrieve, because sometimes it doesn't even come back alive. It'll just So the Evo is definitely that middle ground, that they found that perfect middle ground, and the hardware they used is dang near like. I understand, like the original one, they went super cheap with the hardware. It probably rusts like $2,000, 2 weeks after you get it if it hits water. This Evo is like, if not the same, close to the hardware that's on the jackhammer.
The hook,
on
the hook seems like a thicker wire.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got one right here, Alex.
Yep.
And kind of let you explain it. Let me take this chatter spike off.
That hook, yeah, you're not getting it. Like, that's the other thing. That keeper system they put on there, they were once you lock it on, you're not getting it off.
So down the hook here, it's got a little keeper, and then it's got that wire keeper here.
Yep. Wire keepers for the Z-Man bait. The other one is for the harder, the normal plastics.
Yeah.
Dude, they did a great job.
Yeah. So this is the half ounce.
That
this was part of my prize packet that I won.
I also like that the blades are almost all painted, but they're not exactly the same color as a skirt. It's a little bit more matte.
Yep, they keep
it. It's a little bit different, but it's a little more stealthy because I don't really like the silver blade. Like I a lot of times color my other ones with shark.
Yeah,
that flash.
I'll normally put like if it's a specialized one like a bluegill color or something like that. I normally go for, if it's not gold. That's my rule. If it's not gold, it's getting taped.
Yep.
Yeah. Because here the stained water, like if I throw like a golden shiner, I'm pulling up a 5-pounder. Like they love golden shiner here. If I go silver, yeah, I might. But if I put a black blade on there, they're going to destroy it. It don't matter.
Cheat code is nail polish.
Yep.
So with the chatter spike, if you extend this thing out, you can kind of see how it's broke up right here.
Yep.
Kind of got like
it's V flares.
And then another V flare, smaller V flare up here. So when that thing, let me tell you, when I started throwing this the other day, I was like, man, that damn thing's got to. Something's got to get it.
Dude, it is a very good quiver. It has a very good quiver. And then if it does a hunt action, it just like it always hits the opposite of your hunt action. So you'll always get like a good weird pull from it. It's really good. They set up
any of those yet, and that's I'm assuming that's made out of the Elastec too. I'm assuming.
Yep, it's the Elastec, and because like with the Hog Farmer that came out, the missile bait Spunk Shad that came out, that inline straight like flimsy tail look, it is definitely good. It matches those really well.
What's frustrating is I used to cheat and cut down flukes.
Everybody, dude.
Now the secret's out. Crush City's got one. Missile's got one. Everybody's got one. And I'm like, damn, because I used to literally bite down fluke juniors and stuff them on a chatterbait because it has that just a little bit of a whip to it.
I used to like diagonally slice the not the Zakus. What are they? The Kitex, the little paddle tails. Because then you can. All I wanted to do was go left and right. I didn't need the thump. I just needed to go left and right.
So I used to take the Kitex that the bluegills ate the freaking pad, the boot off.
Yep, that's exactly how mine started.
So I would take those. I would throw them in a Ziploc bag in my kayak, and then I would either drop shot them or throw them on the back of a chatterbait.
That's literally how it started.
It's another use for them because that's the only thing about those Kitex, dude. Is like up here we have a lot of like yellow perch, and those yellow perch always nip at that tail, and they end up ripping it off.
Yep. That is essentially how it started for me. I'm pretty sure that's how it originated for everybody else too. Like Hog Farmer, like when it came out, I was like, this kind of ingenious.
Yep. Well, Hog Farmers really started with the A-rig.
A-rig, yeah.
And they started doing some funky stuff with their A-rigs, and then they realized, crap, we can sell this and market it as a single bait for
everything.
Trailers on spinners, chatterbaits, whatever.
Anything that has a movement to it, yeah, you can throw it on there. It was really
Maine
good.
says he uses a full flush. Of course you do, Maine. It's a 6 cent bait, and you're sponsored by them. You just don't want anybody to know.
Jermaine loves it. Those flushes are huge. Now, I will say, if you look at the end of the flush, it actually has a little bulbous piece before it gets to the tail. And I'm pretty sure when they originally, like the modifications they had thought process, clip those fins off, and then you still got the same action.
I've used it. I've done it. I even will do it on like a swim jig if I'm looking for a little less. Like, don't want that hunt. I just want that little wiggle. I will do the same thing on a swim jig too.
They definitely did that, and I think the juggle has it. Like they really set that up for you to cut those tails off, so you can still get that action out of it.
Yep. So last year you fished it as well.
Oh yeah.
And this year you fished it as well, and you came in 5th place in both tournaments.
Yep. Yeah.
So hey, it's a top 10 finish. That's
it's consistent.
Yeah,
it's consistent.
So the winner, this young kid, he's from the Midwest.
But yeah, he's Tennessee, Kentucky area.
Yeah. So
Bradford.
Yeah, Bradford. So he won it last year, won it this year.
He won it last year, fished behind me. I really wish I would have picked that area apart. Like him and his dad were talking about. Like as soon as they went past me, they said they were in there, they were down on their luck, and was like, I'm just gonna throw this rattle trap.
Yeah, he threw the lipless crankbait on that riprap at the bridge, didn't he?
Yeah, right there on the dirty side.
Yeah, on Hartwell.
Yeah,
that was a hell of a down morning anyway, starting at 19-degree weather.
Ice everywhere.
Lipless is so underrated. So many people overlook it, and it's like I honestly stopped fishing deep divers because I just throw a 1/2 or 3/4 ounce lipless because I can get it wherever I want it. I just count it down, and then I work it back, and I don't have to deal with the bill. I don't have to have special once you get past 4XD, you're tired after throwing those things.
Yeah, you're gonna definitely it has to be a specialized. You have to go full specialized equipment for that if you don't want to feel that fatigue. It is really
I can throw a 1/2 or 3/4 ounce lipless and still kind of accomplish the same depth and not have to deal with that.
Yep. Yeah, hands down, lipless is one of those underrated, but it also we're definitely in that resurgence of the baits that nobody thought of. Dude, as soon as one of these, we gotta talk about it. I'm not gonna talk about it.
What
the
inline side?
No. The Fritz side say the Fritz side. No. We were talking about old school baits in the house. I think it was Thursday.
Yeah.
And I think I even said it. I think the inline spinner is going to make a resurgence really hard. I know, and that's why I didn't want to talk about it. I think somebody on the Elite Series or MLF, because they keep fishing these spotted bass places.
Yeah.
And I swear to goodness, if one person would just throw like a 1/2 ounce inline Meps with a gold Colorado, bruh, or a Panther Martin, instantly.
Yeah, spotted bass. They would, especially given in school of them.
It's so stealthy when it goes through a school. They don't even care. They don't run from it. A spinner bait, they feel so much of that water displacement that they normally move out the way. But an inline spinner, every time, I don't know if you guys ever watch it on live. If you got any kind of foreface, when that inline spinner goes through a school, it's almost like the chicken nuggets going through the school cafeteria. Everybody has to turn. Everybody's looking, trying to figure out where that chicken nugget's going to end up.
Yeah,
it's up here in the north. We use them. Well, I say we. A lot of people don't use them for bass because they're marketed as a chatter or a trout bait.
Yeah,
right.
So what's funny about it is up here, cold water ice out up here. That's one of the I catch 2-3 pounders all day, and sometimes bigger. And it's surprising. Literally, I mean, that one right there I just held up. That's a size 1.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a big one. But the only problem with it is they rust out after the first time you use them because the steel they use in the hooks is awful.
But that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be you're supposed to switch out that hook. And you understand that after that one day, you're spinning on a new one, switching out that hook and going back at it.
But it's a sneaky. I actually have a bait I got from a Dark Horse tackle box. It's an inline spinner with a swim bait head on the back of it. So it's got a swim bait head and then an inline spinner, a wire to an inline spinner, and then to your line tie. So you got both the kick and the paddle, and it's. I haven't caught anything on it yet, but it's been sneaky. I'm like, that is going to be a sneaky little deal because you get that. it's like a bait fish chasing a smaller bait
Small
fish.
bit, yeah,
It's gonna smash
yeah. It's an instant. I gotta kill it.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to go to a commercial break right quick, kick something up here, give a little bit of everybody a little breather, get you something to drink. About a 14-second break. We're going to kick it here. All right. Just a little quick break there. The Northern Series is kicking off in May. We got Vermont in it. We got Connecticut, New York, New Jersey. Where else, Mike? New Hampshire.
Hampshire, Maine,
Maine.
Canada even.
We
even threw Canada in there.
So
come
anybody
join me,
listen,
because right now I'm the only one in it, guys. So come take my money, please.
So yeah, we're trying to get that kicked up and get that going on Tourney X in May. So yeah.
My first actual event's the 28th.
Yeah. So I go to Clark's Hill, the Georgia Tour Kayak Series. We're fishing weekend after next at Clark's Hill, the 27th. So we travel up there to Augusta, Columbia County. But
dude, I'm so anxious about that one on the 28th because it's literally my home lake. It's the lake I spend like if you watch my YouTube, it's probably 40% of my videos. So it's like I know that place. Like I took my teammate there because the one where I'm doing Slay Nation and it's a team trail, and me and my teammate fished it last week, and it was like he was like, "Dude, what do you mean? Where are you casting?" I'm like, "Trust me, just throw a paddle tail in this area." And then like we cleaned up. I think we left with like 12 fish, and you have to understand like where we are. There was 16 inches of snow 2 weeks ago. Like ice out was mid-March.
Wow.
So it was locked up with ice. Like I was fishing yesterday and the water temp was 46.
Yeah, you're just thawing out.
Yeah.
So we're just getting to like we're not even in pre-spawn. We're
fish are still waking up trying to understand what day it is.
Yeah.
That body of water I'm super familiar with. So the thing is I was telling him though, I was like, dude, you need to keep my foot on the gas, and you also need to like check me if I'm making dumb decisions, because that is my home lake. So that's going to be where I screw up. Is my arrogance is going to screw me.
Yep.
It's not. I'm going to go in there with this like, oh, I definitely can catch fish here, and if I don't, I'm going to spin out. So I'm like, I need you to like check me quickly, because
if you don't like that home lake advantage is definitely a double-edged blade. Like it will.
The history is bad sometimes.
It's too much history. Like if I go to one of my ponds, like the waypoints that I have, I would probably run the waypoints and not even look 10 or 15 feet off of them and realize those fish just moved like slightly over. Yeah, it's bad. Yeah, it's really bad.
It's actually a disadvantage, I think, in the most part. Like not only that, but I think also you're more reluctant to change colors. Like you're less likely to like this always works here.
Yeah, no adjustments. You will,
and you refuse to do it, and then you go back and you're like, and that's one of those tournaments I was talking about earlier, where it was like you're driving home and I'm like, dummy, you should have drop shot it, or you should have. So you should, like it's just
it's like you knew it rained and you should have went to a darker color. Like they weren't. No, you'll be a lot more resistant to do anything different. That's not what you're used to. Yeah, I mean that's a home lake thing. But yeah, if you have a partner or somebody there, especially if you guys are doing something different, it always helps break you out of that stale mindset a lot faster than you just out there throwing the same thing that's failing.
That's literally our strategy. Like whenever I fish with someone, even if I'm funny fishing, I say, "What are you throwing?"
Yep.
You're throwing a swim bait. I'm going to throw a swim jig. You're throwing a spinner bait. I'm going to throw a chatter bait. I'm going to stay somewhat in the same category, because then we pin it down. Okay, I know yours is working. Mine's not. What color are you throwing now?
Yep.
And then you literally get two pieces of information to put that pattern together quicker.
Yes.
You're throwing the same bait. It doesn't like. Even if you're catching, if you're throwing the same bait,
you're not learning.
It's not a good idea, because you're never going to get that next pattern, that bigger size. Because that's the thing I think people don't realize in tournaments is, well, actually, let's ask this. Alex, what's your goal when you start a tournament? Are you looking to get the 5 fish as fast as you can, or are you home run swinging right out of the gate?
My biggest thing that I always say, and I've been saying on stream, stay comfortable. Because if I can stay comfortable, I'll stay confident. If I can stay confident, I'll probably catch more fish.
Okay.
Even if I don't catch my limit, if I stayed comfortable, I know I checked one box.
Okay.
So like that's how it always goes, because I'll be out there just like what Dan was saying last year on Hartwell, 19 degrees. I dressed accordingly. I figured out I couldn't cover Hartwell the way I wanted to because I had my wife with me, and the way practice and our movement was, we weren't going to be able to, do a lot. So I looked at a couple of spots and I found where I could be my most comfortable, that felt like home. And I just focused on that. And I mean, it turned out to be a decent tournament for me. I was just one fish away from probably winning it. And then I went with the same mentality going in down to Sinclair. My main focus was, hey, this water's dirty. Try to find dirty but clean water that you're comfortable with, and go have fun. And I kid you not, I went that mentality in practice. I've never been there, and literally my first place I picked for practice was gold.
Yep.
So, and that's normally how I do my trails here, is if I can find, like, most of the lakes that I know, especially if I have history on it, go to where I'm comfortable. Don't go to history. Look at history and figure out where I could be comfortable at. And then if I can't find anything else for practice, if I can't find anything else, go check history, see if they're setting up or, similar, but try to stay away from history. That's always been my biggest thing. Just stay comfortable. Always
More
stay
tournaments are lost from mental mistakes than they are from the
mental,
wrong
yeah.
date or the wrong
100%.
location.
100%. Then that's like my first year. I learned that. So going back to the original question, my first year, get 5 fish, then start swinging.
Yep.
And then slowly I became humbled. I put more money in, became humbled. Put more money in, became humbled. I'm like, what am I doing differently that I'm not doing on fun fishing? It's like, I'm not comfortable. Yep. I'm going in thinking about what these fish should be doing, looking at every YouTube video for the area, every pattern that I could think of that they should be doing, and then going to some areas I've never even looked at, don't know the formation of rocks anywhere, trying to go offshore. It was a whole bunch of mistakes that my second year I really cleaned up with, and it paid dividends. Like, once I became more comfortable with my particular techniques, stayed focused on what I like to do, what I know I should be doing, and not worrying about catching the 5 biggest fish in the first 2 hours and catch the 5 best fish I can in the 8 hours. Game, that was an evolution in my fishing game.
Right. So, and Alex can vouch for this, because what we did in the house, we had a big screen, so we were sitting there, fishing to do.
Gosh.
So we're sitting there searching on YouTube, and I kind of bring up when David Fritz won the Classic up there, or on Sinclair.
Yep. Same year though.
Yeah.
Oh no, 93, 97. No, it was yeah.
So we started watching that video. He cranked them, and I knew where he was cranking at because I had the waypoint already in my GPS on my fish finder. So, and Alex was like, "Shut up, man! Shut up."
And the thing is, not a lot of the guys, a lot of the guys in the house didn't know, like, the Fritz side, literally from Georgia to North Carolina, is where the Fritz side was created. And what David Fritz was doing, I mean, he took it down to Florida at one point, was throwing it on braid, and nobody understood it. I mean, we could see what last year Tyler throwing a jerkbait in the canal down in Florida. Like, everything is changing, but David Fritz was definitely on that like late 80s, mid 90s push for a different type of cranking angler. And sure enough, when he came to Sinclair, him and those rocks were going to work.
Yeah. So if you look at maps of Sinclair, you'll find, just type in Lake Sinclair Marina, and you'll go out of the marina to the right. There's a rock. There's probably a rock wall, I would say probably 100 yards out there that was man created, and that's where he was cranking at. And I knew that point. I knew the rocks, because when the water gets when they pump water back into Oconee at night, if you go out there at night, you'll see the tops of the rocks. But when they pump the water back into Sinclair in the morning times, the rocks aren't visible.
But see, that actually goes back to Alex's point, though. It's a comfort thing. So David Fritz was doing something with the rod, or he was doing something with the reel. Like, you can come right behind somebody with the same bait, with the exact same rod, and not catch fish because he's doing something different. And you don't, like, I know when I watch myself, I've noticed, like, every once in a while, like, I don't even realize I'm throwing a hitch at random intervals and stuff like that. So, like, being confident is where those come from. When you get into the zone, I know, like, a lot of times when I'm not catching fish, I throw a podcast on. I'll put my headphones on, I'll put music on or a podcast to just quiet my mind and just fish. And all of a sudden I start catching fish. So when you go back and watch the footage, because I have a camera that points at me. So, like, I'll see stupid stuff. Like, I thought I was doing a straight retrieve, but I stopped to scratch my neck.
Yeah.
And then that's when that fish hit. Or I thought I was fishing a black and blue Senko, but it was June bug because the bait got ripped off. I reached in the black and blue bag, but there was this June bug in there. Like, you find these little details, but that's what it is. It's like you said, it's just having confidence. I say this, and it's like a weird, because I don't believe in necessarily like good juju, bad juju, but your confidence transfers down that line to that bait. If it's you chat a bait deal,
that energy is going straight into that water.
It goes through there, and it calls those fish. It really does.
I think when you're too confident, those fish are like, I'm gonna make sure you're not confident. I'm gonna kill this bait, and then I'm 100% with you on that one.
And
there's just something about it.
Just like me that morning, Alex. I caught my first one on a crankbait on a hybrid hunter. And, the second one came off. I was fishing docks. I was just cranking that crankbait on docks and docks and docks. And you know what? I said, look, these fish ain't hitting no crankbait. That was just a fluke out there that he was just hungry at the time and he hit the crankbait. I said, well, you know what? I picked up that spinning rod with that slider worm on it. And I went to flipping and on backside of docks. And I knew they had to be on seawalls. Just my experience from the bass boat world on that lake, and I caught the fish on the dam, I think he was 15 and a half.
Yep.
And I said, this is it. I'm just going to start picking away with this finesse worm. And that's how I caught all mine.
Yeah.
I say it all the time on my channel. The bass didn't read the book. The bass didn't watch Tactical Bassin'.
No.
They don't know what they're supposed to bite. So the textbook bait, don't necessarily not throw it, but if it's not working, don't grind yourself into the dirt throwing the bait just because Matt Allen said you should fish that bait here.
Yeah, big facts.
Don't even follow what I tell you to do. Like, if it's something that's an idea or a suggestion, but fish what you think is going to work or don't. I mean, honestly, I've thrown the baits. There was a long time where I didn't know that baits were supposed to be a cold water bait, or this bait was like, yesterday, I caught a fish on a wacky rig under a dock, 46-degree water.
Yep.
That's not supposed to be wacky rig time.
Nope.
But I caught a 4-pounder under a dock in bluebird sky with very little wind on a wacky rig. There's no rules.
Yeah,
it's just basic guidelines to try to figure it out. But at the end of the day, if you're comfortable with a chatterbait, throw the chatterbait. Like, it's.
Yeah, my biggest thing I tell to everybody, like, if we're going to go off of a textbook that somebody wrote and, look at all that data, look at your squirrels. They're not hibernating no more. There was many books about hibernation and how these little mammals supposed to. The bears out in the woods, now they up probably 9 out of the 12 months now instead of down for 6. Everything that's changing around us definitely affects those fish down there too. So that textbook is not play by play, page by page. It is a suggestion, 100% suggestion.
Yeah. So, Alex, let's talk about something else. Let's get away from the BLAT. You fished the National Championship Round at Guntersville as well.
Guntersville is magical.
So, kind of tell us how you set up for that. Because Guntersville is a grassy lake.
It's
everybody
grass, ledge, dock. Like, you could if you have any type of way you want to fish, you can find it on Guntersville. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. So practice for Guntersville was going with the pre-spawn or the spawn post-spawn mindset. So a couple of places I wanted to check deep, see if they were setting up. A couple of places I wanted to check shallow, see if they were staging and or on beds. I think my second day of practice, I found good fish on bed. Very, very good fish on bed. I also found it was a cove where I found two stages. I found the post spawners and I found spawners easily. Post spawners would chase bluegill around their beds in the morning, and spawners would migrate from front of docks to back of docks and on the back of seawalls by midday to or late morning into afternoon into afternoon, and it was phenomenal. Even on I had my stream for day. I'm sorry, practice. I caught two fish back to back on the same piece of wood, and then went a stretch probably like 20 yards from that and caught another one on the same bait. Cut the bait off. Said this is where I'm starting, and then start looking for stuff. Go there day one. I go to a spot that's probably 50 yards from that spot where I caught the double up, and I almost tripled up on some bluegill eaters. I caught one broke me off, caught another one 2 casts later, and then started just going around the area. Surprisingly, and I meant to tell you about this, Dan. Jason Starling, the person who came in third or second place. Did Jason come in second?
Yeah.
Jason came in second at the Brian Latimer tournament. Jason started at my spot.
On Guntersville.
On Guntersville. Literally, I was like, Jason, are you following me? He was like, no, man. He's like, I just got down here last night. I was like, so you haven't even practiced? He's like, no. I was just coming here. It looks good. I was like, okay. So he goes to his spot. I'm still loading my stuff and dropping it into the water and helping another angler get her stuff into the water. He's going straight to my spot. I'm like, how does Jay? And I started looking at him. I was like, he probably got me GPS tracked somewhere. This man knows. So,
got your air tagged.
Yeah, he got me air tagged. So I got in the boat and I'm starting to head to that spot. And he's coming off of the spot. Find out he messages me and says, hey, my breaker broke for my trolling motor. I'm back fixing it. And he was like, and then I guess he saw where I was going and he sent me a message like, could we share that spot? I never saw the message until he fixed everything and came back. And he was like, do you see my message? I was like, no, what's up, man? He was like, yeah, my motor broke or my breaker broke and I was coming back and I saw you were heading here. And I was like, do you want to share a spot? I was like, yeah, we can share a spot, man. I was like, especially because you didn't practice. So you probably don't even know what's happening. I didn't tell him that you didn't know what was happening. So as soon as I caught my second fish after the fish broke me off, I pull up to 1875. I look over to Jason. He pulled up a 20. I was like, he knows. He knows what's happening over here. He knows exactly what's happening over here. So Jason runs the rest of the bank and heads to the docks, but it's still like 9 or 10 o'clock, so they're not going to set up right. So literally by the time I get there, he's actually saying, yeah, I'm leaving. I was like, okay. I was like, you sure? Because I even wanted to say, I was like, yeah. There's still more good fish. So he leaves and I just start hitting the back of the docks, and literally every 3 casts I can pull a fish in. It was just picking which one was going to be a good one. So I got my limit probably around like 11, sitting in 20th. And then I just started going at just looking for more bigger ones. Missed 2 good ones, but then I was like, okay, I'll take my spot wherever I land after day 1. And I think it was like 4 minutes left in the tournament. I'm packing everything up. As soon as I'm heading out my cove, and I wish I would have knew what I was looking at when I was leaving, but there was a machine with 2 little rotors on the side of it coming into the cove. I'm sitting there like, oh, that looks like it's probably going to dig stuff up. Maybe it's going to go hit some of the hydrilla. And I was like, I don't know. And then I'm packing everything up, and I look back. Sure enough, that thing is churning. I'm like, oh, no, it's a dredger. That thing is about to kick up. And sure enough, you just see chocolate milk slowly spread. I'm like, oh, that's probably going to kill me tomorrow.
What the hell were they doing? Digging up the grass?
So it's a dredger. It pulls the vegetation off the bottom and shoots it into the machine.
Yeah.
It's like those old rotary water wheels that they use for like electricity. It's just like that, and it's what it does is it's on an arm and they drop it down and it just grabs and rips out all the vegetation.
So I leave. I'm talking to everybody. I'm talking to the two ladies in the house. I also went up to Fishing with Gramps. I was talking to him. I was like, dude, what is that machine? Do you know what it does? And he was like, yeah, that's a dredger. I was like, no, don't say that. He was like, yeah, it's a dredger. I was like, I was like, y'all think my fish gonna be there? I was like, I personally was like, I don't think my fish gonna be there. So I was like, I'm gonna go back there and fish the stuff I had in the front of the area, and when the sun comes up, see what happens. I fished my front area. I didn't get any bites. I fished it 4 times. I did some good circles around it. And sure enough, I go over and look to that back area. It went from clear green water to chocolate milk. It went worse than what I saw at Sinclair.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
it went worse than what I saw at Sinclair. And I said, and it was my fault because there was one fish that could have been caught there because there was a spawning bed on this area, and I found it on practice, and I caught a 1925 off of it, the female, of course. Right. I was like, this is a horrible catch. But on day 1, I threw back there and caught 3 14s. I said, if there's 3 14s here, she is still over here somewhere. Yeah. So I went back over there, and sure enough, I threw a wacky, locked up, and it was probably like a 14 or 15. It was bigger than my 14s. And as soon as I was about to lift it into the boat and grab the net, came right off right next to the boat. And I was like, okay. And it was chocolate milk there. And I was like, I kind of dead stuck that thing for like 30 seconds. I was like, I am not fishing this way. This is not how I practice. I am not comfortable fishing that way. Because literally it's just chocolate milk. I threw it in there with hopes, maybe moved it once or twice, started working on something else. Because I think I popped one of my other rods off. So I was working on that, lifted it up again, and then it's like, I was like, oh, that's a fish. But I mean, it sat there and soaked dead stick for like forever. So I was like, yeah, we're leaving. I go to another spot, and I couldn't win, but I went to another spot, really good spot, because I caught another 1925 off of this spot during practice. Just held chatterbait in my hand and started winging it, fan casting everywhere, and I catch 2 in that area. But after I catch my second one, I'm trying to rotate back to where I caught my first one. Georgia DNR with the electric shocking boat comes through on that.
Man, you were like
killed. You're just like
you got the worst luck, man.
I have it on stream. They were pulling up nothing but 15s, bluegills. I think they pull up a drum. I'm sitting there like, I raised my hand to them. I was like, you know what, y'all marine biologists gotta do what y'all gotta do, but not tournament day. Y'all gotta do what y'all gotta do, not tournament day. But dude, they scooped up at least 6 bass that were sitting there, and it was another situation where it was a wind blown coming into a cove, and I was fishing a wind seam. I was fishing a clean wind seam between docks and the main cove's current, and they were just sitting there. I caught one, lost one. It jumped. I threw the dang chatterbait too far, locked it up, jumps out, spits the chatterbait, throw back like 4 other times, pulling another one. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is it. So I'm just going to keep doing that rotation. But then there was another guy. I was like, yo, what do bass do after they get shocked? He was like, that's a good question. Like nobody knew. Like, cause I don't think they'll bite. I would not think they would bite again. That's like you getting hit with a defibrillator.
Yeah.
After a heart attack, and like, yeah, I'm gonna go run this 5K. Like, no, you're not.
You're done. Yeah. Bass though are kind of primitive, so it might even just piss them off and amp them up.
Yeah. And I threw back over. I didn't get no more bites, but I should. If I didn't have the confidence and I wasn't comfortable.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was like, I'm not going to sit back. So day 2, caught those 2 fish, and it was bad. So I was already out of it. I think at that point I was 73rd. I would have needed 100 inches to even get into 15, and everybody in top 15 would have had to crash. So after that, I just went to go fun fish. Day 3, I went to a frog spot, and Jason was there. Different spot. I went north into the river. North up in the river, and sure enough, as I'm finishing my routes, I see Jason. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have to check my boat. This man got me tagged somewhere, but nah, it was he never even saw me. I just saw him. But happenstance, I caught 3 fishing pretty much grass mats and like 5 feet tall hydrilla. Like it was just matted nasty out there. And throwing wacky rig in the little small holes, and then and a chatterbait between a couple of docks that were there. It was really fun. But that finally, like all of that with those 3 fish, put me in 68 for that event. And I couldn't ask for any more. I had fun. I got to fish my way. I didn't have to change it based off the conditions. I just really wish that if my first area didn't get dredged, I even said it on stream, and I shouldn't have said it because I think I set myself out. I was like, I got a chance of getting in the top 10 easy off of just this one cove. Because, mind you, what I found, only did one side of it. Like, before it got dredged, I only fished one side. There was a gentleman from Indiana. He fished the other side. He had 81 inches, and he only stayed at 2 docks. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. This cove was this cove. Like, we even looked at each other when we were leaving. I was like, dude, this is a magical cove. He was like, how much you get? I was like, I got 80-50. He's like, I got 81 and a half too. I was like, and then I said, but you just stayed there. He was like, they just kept going there. I was like, this is it. I don't mind sharing. Like, if it's just me and you, like, I don't mind sharing this. We never even touched each other's fish, and we're pulling out 80s. This is 3 days. This is easy, but it didn't work out that way. We got dredged. No. He even said it. I should have took notes day 2 because day 1, by the time it was lines in, like his boat was already in the water. He had an Old Town with a XI3 on the front. By the time it was time to go, my man is like invisible. He's gone. He's already ran to the back. But day 2, by the time I got in the water and it was launched, leave, like you can launch your boat. Probably 5 minutes in, he's already packing up, going back. He's gone. Like he's already went back there, saw that it was chocolate milk. He said, "This ain't for me." Me, it took me 3 hours to finish trying to figure out a pattern up in the front to go back there and say, "Yeah, this ain't it, Chief." But
daggone.
But that's fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
especially on big reservoirs.
Yeah. Now that I know, if I see those little swirly boys coming in, and they're going to dredge my, I gotta go. I need to have at least 8 different plans of action because it was. I really should have got. And I swear, if I would have got out of there maybe 2 hours earlier, I think I could have did damage at the other spot because I was pulling up 18s and 16s. So if I can pull up an 18 and 16. After the electric shocking boat, I can probably be competitive. Day 3, I wouldn't know what to do, but I could probably be competitive. But nonetheless, it was a great event. Yeah. Shout out to the winners. I think Wyatt won it again, and he's fishing in no man's land. He's setting a new standard for offshore fishermen that I've never seen ever. The dude is magical. Russ is always up there. Russ did really well. Yep. Mike Elsey is he's a Terminator. That man is fishing focused, and when he has him. Like he literally, he said something on I can't remember. It was day 2, and he was like, "Yeah, I should have did this, but he even confidently said, "Yeah, tomorrow I'm killing him." And literally, dude went in like by 7:30 had 96 inches.
Wow.
Like whatever he did day 2, if he would have did that day 3, this man would have been untouchable. Because at day 1 he had 92, day 2 he fell off, had like a mid 80 day, but he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go kill him tomorrow." And before I even posted my first fish, this dude already had a full bag of just bigs. I'm sitting there like, man, this is a whole different level of fishermen out here. But shout out to the dang top anglers that people are putting in work. Shoot, Casey Reed even put like Casey fell off. And on my route to the second spot, after I found out like it got dredged, I'm going over the bridge, and Casey is in a spot. I will not tell anybody where Casey was. Only me and Sean Boersma are the people who know where Casey was. But Casey was by himself. Only other people that came near him were like probably boaters. And this man was pulling in high 80s to 90s, and he had no competition. I drove over the bridge and looked down. I was like, that's where he's catching. Like, I was like, that's where he's at. I was like, I gotta respect it, dude. I gotta respect it. He found it, and it's a magical spot where you can see that one dude that's just killing it, and nobody's around him. Like that dude put in the work, or he got lucky as heck. But from what he was saying, he put in the work. He found that spot.
Yeah. So guys,
it's some of the funnest stuff in tournaments, dude. Is like watching somebody like either kill it or watching someone fail. Yeah. One of the tournaments I did where I had a lot of regrets was I went by a shallow area and just skipped it. It's just like I don't want to do it.
It was a do nothing.
Went back in there later, and there was 4 guys in there. And I was like, why is there so many guys in here? I'm like, okay, it's big enough. We can all share this. I'll sneak in around them. And you would hear these guys go, son of a, because they kept trying, like, these fish were short striking all the topwater baits, but that's what it was. You couldn't fish anything. It was submergent grass, but it was like right to the surface. So you had to throw like horny toads or choppos or buzz baits. You could not let that bait get below the water, or you were dredging at that point. So like these guys were like, they were just short striking these baits all day. These guys were just yelling back and forth. You'd hear them like, no, the whole time. It was so funny.
Yeah. That's a good spot.
I was like, I should have been here earlier before like 5 guys got in here.
Oh man, it's a good spot.
Yeah, man. So you're in the tournament this month.
Yes, sir. Right? I'm sitting at about 11th right now.
Hang on, we'll check right quick. Let me pull in the fishing chaos.
I remember Brennan, one of the kids that was in the boat. He messaged me while I was just packing up and leaving Alabama. He sent it on Instagram. He was like, "Man, I'm trying to catch up to Alex Stone." I was like, "Brennan, these are all Alabama fish. I haven't gotten back to North Carolina." I said, "You better pray for those green fish when I get back home, because I ain't gonna let them slip up." I've let them slip up. I haven't got any big ones.
Yeah.
but yeah.
It's that confidence, man. Sometimes it hurts you too.
That so Jason is sitting at 7.
7. Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah, at 100 and a half.
Yeah, 104 was leading it this morning when I saw it was 106.
There you go.
One of my teammates is actually sitting up there. I think he's in 9th or 10th. Ryan Galloway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
22.
So a guy I fished with down here, Cleveland Walker, he's actually at 13th and you're at 14th.
Yay, let's go.
Yeah. So you got 92 and a quarter, man.
Yes, sir.
92 and a quarter.
That's all Alabama fish. Timestamp show.
Yeah,
none of them in North Carolina. Y'all just wait. These girls coming off these dang beds. I'm throwing nothing but big swim baits.
So I'm moved down to 48th place.
Oh, you got to get back in there. You have to cut line.
Yeah, I'm right there at the cut line. So I'm at 71 and 3/4. I'll catch.
That's easy.
Yeah, I'll go.
See, that's my whole problem is I can't get into tournaments like that because 98 is like state record level for me at that point. Like
you only got to get into 40. You just got to get in the top 40. Nothing else matters.
Yeah,
that's my mindset. Like I said, all those fish I got up on there are for me either pre-fishing or fishing at that tournament in Alabama. Ain't nothing. I didn't go to any of the home lakes and pull out any bigs yet. Hopefully soon, but not yet.
Gotcha.
So just one more thing, Alex, is, hey, if everybody, it's a good experience fishing in B-Lat tournaments.
It's a very good experience.
Because you kind of, first of all, you get to meet people when you fish the championship round from all over the United States. Secondly, he gives a good school of the fishery that you're going to fish the championship on. And thirdly, he gave away, golly, I can't, how much equipment he give away in the top 10 this year?
Listen, if I look at what I got about $1,500 worth of gear just off of rods. That's not even including the baits. First place came off with probably like 5,000 worth of gear. Second place, probably 3,000. And third place, probably like a good 1,500. Like,
right.
And that's just 1, 2, 3. And then you just heard me say I got about 1,500 in just rods and gear. Like,
yeah, that's crazy.
Like he's giving away.
I'm talking about favorite.
Yeah, for big bass, I got a $420 hex rod. Like he's giving out. I also got like $130. 200, one's 150, the other one's $130 rod. Like he's giving away really, really quality items. And if you go to the store while you're there, he's pretty much discount pricing. So I know one of the hex rods that normally go for 400, he sold one for 120.
Yeah.
So if it's gear, fishing gear you're looking for, he'll have it. If you know the Z-Man lineup and there's Z-Man something, he most likely has it. Right. If it's it's worthwhile.
He has spear point hooks there. What else? outrageous selection of Z-Man product.
Yep.
He
He pretty much had most of the catalog for his favorite Z-Man. So if he had any Z-Man item, he probably had at least 5 of the like 7 colors that they offered.
Right.
He was very, very, very inventory heavy, and he needed it all gone. He kept
and the year before that, at the award, so he unloaded this big trailer with all these big bins out of it. He's like, he just set all these bins out and said, "This stuff ain't going home with me. It's got to go home with somebody."
There was one bin, if you search at the bottom, it had nothing but jackhammers. I could not believe this man didn't put that bin out there. Like there was stealth blades, there were height delights. Like he wasn't. These weren't like cheap items. He was putting out very, very good bait. And the same thing for this year. Most of it was sold, but if you were there for the last day after weigh-in, he was literally saying, "Hey, if you want this bait, just pay me $2 and go." Like it was pretty much a steal at that point.
Yeah. So, awesome. Hey man, we've been going for about an hour and 5 minutes now. And, 3:30 comes early for me in the morning. Go to work.
Understood.
So, but hey, we appreciate you coming on the show, sharing your experiences in both tournaments. For everybody, go follow Alex on the water on his social media. You also do live streams on Twitch, right?
Yep.
On the water.
Yep. So yeah, anytime I'm out, mostly during tournaments. This year, I was going to do most of my tournaments live stream. If I go out fun fishing and I'll stream it. But for the most part, this year I was going to focus more on just live streaming the tournaments and trying to get more people into understanding what kayak fishing tournaments are, what we're doing on the water, and just get more people comfortable with fishing in general. I think that's one of the biggest things post-pandemic is everybody understands fishing, but not everybody is comfortable fishing. So that's really what have been some of my goals is just get as many people into the sport, look at it, have fun with it, understand that, this is a resource-driven sport and have fun with it. And,
That's right. So hopefully we'll get the house again together at the
yes, sir. I can't wait.
And everybody else. We had some excellent food. Wes cooked.
Wes was the chef. Chef Wes was 100%.
But yeah, so we'll have the next podcast in 2 weeks. So make sure you join us in 2 weeks for the next podcast. And always wear your PFD on the water and fish on.